Good Saturday night. It is March the 31st, 2018. Welcome to this week's weekly weather briefing. Tomorrow we do begin the first day of April, and you would think that that would offer some more insight to some warmer weather, but unfortunately for many of you that are looking forward to spring and officially spring weather that is prolonged, it is not going to be in the forecast, at least for this week, and we'll talk about why at the end of this video. But to begin with it, we'll talk about the Easter forecast, which looks cold and it looks rainy. And then on Tuesday, we begin to take a turn toward the warmer weather, but it doesn't last long because by midweek, we're looking at a possible freeze, especially on Thursday morning. And the next weekend, another Arctic blast moves into the area, and we'll look at the extended forecast where it looks like record cold is possible and an active pattern continues. Starting out with that Easter forecast, top 5 coldest Easters could be on the table tomorrow. Temperatures are likely to hang around in the low to mid 40s for most of the day. Rain will likely begin during the evening and early nighttime, but we'll break it down throughout the day tomorrow. So pre-dawn hours, rain moves in actually tonight, Saturday night, and early on Sunday morning. It moves out around 2 or 3 a.m. And then by midday, we're looking at more dry time coming into the area, but it will be cloudy. So maybe some lunchtime Easter egg hunts or some lunchtime picnics maybe is going to be cold, and it's going to be cloudy. But thankfully it will probably be dry by that time frame. However, if we have any plans going into the evening hours on your Easter Sunday, rain will redevelop on Sunday evening and early on during the night. The Futurecast radar, Sunday at 2 a.m., this is really tonight, and is showing that that rain is moving into the area, but we do get that break around midday, around lunchtime on your Sunday, and then by Sunday evening around 5 p.m. we see rain redeveloping in the area, and this one could be a more prolonged and more steady rainfall that lasts even into the Monday morning hours as you start your new work week. Sunday 3 p.m., heat of the day, temperatures, that's all they get, lower to middle 40s. Absolutely incredible that we're seeing this kind of cold air, and it's not like Easter came really early this year, and it's not rare that we're seeing such a cold Easter. It's the first day of April. This is pretty incredible that we're seeing this kind of cold air in the region. I think the record for April the 1st for the coldest high temperature is 36 degrees at the Paducah Weather Office. Not sure about the Evansville office, but for Paducah, I think 36 is the coldest high temperature. And so we're really, respectively, not far from that, considering that the average temperature for April the 1st is in the lower 60s for high temperatures. So this is incredible, almost 20 degrees below the average, and it is going to become almost 20 degrees above the average on Tuesday as temperatures soar into the lower to middle 70s. If we get into the upper 70s, then that's when I'm talking about probably closer to that 20 degree plus anomaly. Wind is going to be a factor on Tuesday. It will be very windy. Storms will arrive late afternoon, and then we do have that threat for severe weather. So looking at our severe thunderstorm parameters, key parameters that we like to look at is what we call SLIM. I refer to that from the Weather Channel. It's shear, lift, instability, which is also another word for energy, and then moisture. We need those 4 main things, and of course there's several other things, but those 4 main things, if you have those 4, then you're looking at a fairly strong risk for severe weather. But you have to have all 4 of them there and pretty strong, and we don't have all 4 of them really strong. We have a couple strong, a couple marginal. Shear looks strong. Lift and instability, they both look marginal. And then the moisture looks strong as well. But we'll look at some maps to show you what that might look like. Tuesday at 3 p.m., notice that we have that line of showers and thunderstorms beginning to form up to our west. And this looks to rapidly develop. It looks like this will form in the form and nature of showers, just regular garden variety showers off to our northwest on Tuesday afternoon. And then we'll quickly strengthen into supercell thunderstorms possibly by Tuesday late afternoon and early evening, and this will race across the area, very fast moving storms. And a lot of the reason is because it's going to have a lot of shear to work with, so that thunderstorm activity will be moving off to our east very quickly, very rapidly, and some of your stronger storms move very quickly and move at a fast rate. So keep that in mind if there's any warnings that have to be issued, that you know where your safe place of shelter is, because storms will be moving at a very fast pace on Tuesday afternoon. But once again, I do want to remind you that this is preliminary. It's Saturday, and this video, it's coming out on Saturday, early Sunday morning. And by the time you're watching this, either this risk has already gone through your area, it's already past Tuesday, you don't have to worry about it. If you watch this video and it's not until Tuesday yet, make sure that you know that things could have changed between the time that I made this video. The risk could have gone up, the risk could have gone down. So keep that in mind. Tuesday at 3 p.m., we see that shear. You notice that really the bulk shear, the main part of the shear, is actually going to stay off to our northwest during the time of the storms moving through, and then the greatest amount of shear will move through after those storms have moved through. So thank goodness that they're not both timing up exactly, or else the risk would be even higher for severe weather. Tuesday at 3 p.m., we're looking at lift, and this is basically the lift for thunderstorms to get those thunderstorms going and producing and beginning to mature as they grow and move off to the east. You notice that we have marginal parameters. Notice that our highs stay off to our southwest, and that's really where the greatest risk of severe weather is on Tuesday, to our southwest. In our area, though, there is still that risk. It's not as high as areas in parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas, Mississippi, southwestern Tennessee. Those areas have a greater risk than we do, but everyone is at least at a risk for severe weather. If we look at the Cape or instability, we're noticing that this is not a ton of energy for thunderstorms to work with. Like I said, most of it is off to our southwest where that greatest risk of severe weather does exist, but we do have marginal numbers for Cape and marginal numbers for instability. If we see more sunshine than expected, then we could see higher numbers in energy and instability, and that is going to help fuel thunderstorms. And then the moisture content looks to be very strong, very high transport of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. Notice that we're looking at dew points in the lower to middle 60s, which for early April is pretty high numbers. So that is also another factor for severe weather. And then one other thing is the temperatures. Of course, you need warm weather for severe weather, and you can tell that we do have temperatures in the lower to middle 70s on your Tuesday. So that's the one warm day this week, but as we go into the middle week, we look at well below normal temperatures coming in. For Wednesday, afternoon highs will probably be almost like your Easter Sunday in the 40s all day. And then on Thursday, we're looking at morning low temperatures, possibly a light freeze, upper 20s to lower 30s. And then next weekend, we look at another cold front moving through, so additional freezes are likely. And that cold front looks to be even stronger than the one that moves through on Tuesday with more cold weather behind it. Your Wednesday afternoon temperature anomalies look to be almost 15 to 20 degrees below average for this time of the year. We go into your Saturday, and once again, the same thing. Now, we do have some brief warm-up in between the midweek and the late week freezes, but for the most part, this is going to be a very cold pattern that is going to continue. As we look into the extended forecast, an active pattern is going to continue going into the next at least 15 days or so. We have a strong northeast trough, a strong southwest ridge. We're kind of stuck in the middle. However, for us, the trough is mostly winning out, so we're getting mostly cold and stormier weather. But in between those two is where that active pattern has been stuck, and that's where we are at. So that's why, and that's going to continue on. And then continue below average temperatures. First half of April at least. This could even linger into the latter half of April. And in that first half, we could be looking at record cold at times. The 5.5 to 10.5 day temperature anomaly shows that we have, on average, and this is the GFS ensemble, so this makes it even more accurate, showing anywhere between 4 to up to 10 degrees below average across parts of the central United States, and that's just incredible for early April. And keep in mind that your averages in April are higher than they were in March, so this isn't really as severe cold as it might look. If you saw this map in the middle of January, it would be very, very cold air. In April, it's not as cold, but for it to be this far below average is pretty incredible, and it's definitely going to catch you off guard. 11 to 6 day temperature anomalies, still looking at below normal temperatures, but notice we're not looking at as below normal. We're beginning to moderate a little bit, so maybe some light at the end of the tunnel as we go into the middle to latter half of April, that something begins to turn around to the warmer side of things. But we can all hope for that. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen. 15-day temperature trends, notice that we do have that one spike on your morning highs, or your morning lows and your afternoon highs. We have that spike on Tuesday in temperatures. Here's the red line, the freezing mark. Notice we have several mornings over the next at least a week where temperatures are going to be very close to the freezing mark, if not below it, on the morning lows. And then your afternoon highs stuck in the 40s, lower 50s. Very chilly for this time of the year, considering that averages for afternoon highs are in the upper 50s to low to mid 60s, and average lows are in the 40s. As we look at the 7-day precipitation totals, notice that we're beginning to look at very high. This is definitely something that is not surprising considering how wet the pattern has been. I just calculated here at my house over 20 inches of rain so far this year since the start of 2018. Our average for an entire year is about 40 to 45 inches. So we're already getting about half of our annual rainfall in the first 3 months. Pretty incredible. and this looks like that wet pattern is going to continue, especially in the next week, where it looks like we could be looking at still an additional couple of inches of rain once we total it all up by next Saturday night and early Sunday. Have a great Easter Sunday, despite the cold, despite the rain. Make the best of it. Definitely one of the colder Easters that we've had in quite some time. But nonetheless, enjoy the Easter holiday. Enjoy this week. Many kids off for spring break, even though it will not feel like spring. Eventually we'll get there, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon.